The war was over. The crown had changed hands. A king had fallen and another had risen. And for the first time in decades, England had something that looked like peace.
But peace and stability are not the same thing, because when a crown is taken in battle, it doesn't come with trust. It comes with doubt. And in 1485, England was filled with questions.
He has no claim to the crown.
Who is this new king? Why him? And perhaps most importantly, how long before everything shatters again?
Hello, I'm Jason, and thank you for being here.
And I'm Jane, and welcome to Willis Through Time.
Are you with me?
I'd like to take a moment to thank My Dude Watch, our other channel, for supporting us.
If you enjoy watches and designs, we hope you'll consider joining us as we explore affordable watches.
We'll leave a link in the description. Now, back to 1485 England.
Henry Tudor had accomplished what many before him could not. He had soundly defeated a king in open battle, and now the kingdom was his. And this new king declared the war over. But victory is only the beginning.
Because what Henry inherited wasn't just the throne, it was a kingdom shaped by decades of betrayal and the uncertainty of shifting alliances. Lessons had been learned that powerful men understood one thing above all else, the belief that loyalties change.
Let's be clear about something. Henry Tudor was not the obvious choice to be king. His claim to the throne was weak. Remember, the claim was through the Beaufort line, a branch of royal family that had once been declared illegitimate. He wasn't raised in England's court. He didn't grow up surrounded by power. In fact, for much of his life, he was in exile, waiting, watching, surviving. So when he arrives and takes the crown at Bosworth, this isn't the rise of a natural heir. It's the arrival of a man who saw an opportunity and took it.
And across England, people understood that. They had lived through too much not to. These were not distant observers of history. These were people who had watched kings rise and fall again and again. They had seen promises made and broken. They had seen loyalties rewarded and punished.
Rise, it's time.
So when Henry Tudor became Henry VII, there wasn't celebration in the way you might expect. There was relief. But it's important to understand, relief is not trust. It's just a pause till it all possibly breaks again.
Because here's the truth. The War of the Roses didn't end at Bosworth Field. Not really. The battles may have stopped, but the people who fought them, the families who had lost, and the nobles who still believed they had a claim, they were all still there, watching, waiting, and in some cases, rooting against the crown. And for Henry, that meant one thing. This was no longer a war for the crown. It was a war to keep it.
And Henry understood something that many before him did not. He knew he didn't need to be the strongest man in the room. He just needed to be the most careful. So instead of ruling through force alone, he ruled through control.
I need your tasks completed now.
And to keep control, he married Elizabeth of York, bringing together the two houses that had torn England apart, the Red Rose and the White, not as rivals, but as one.
God save the King.
The blending of the roses was a powerful symbol, but symbols only go so far.
History tells us that behind the symbol, Henry was building something far more deliberate and intentional. He kept a close eye on the nobility. He made sure to limit their power, and even more importantly, he made loyalty measurable. Beyond that, he was clever enough to make disloyalty very dangerous. Some kings want to be admired and loved. That's not what is happening here. This was a king making sure he could not be removed.
Your Majesty.
And over time, something began to change. This was not immediate. It didn't happen suddenly or dramatically. So what changed? England did. It began to stabilize, not because people trusted the system again, but because the system was no longer broken.
The kingdom is stabilized, Your Majesty.
And in that quiet shift, a new kind of monarchy was taking shape. One built not just on bloodlines, but on control, on patience, on survival.
Henry VII did not inherit a strong kingdom. He inherited an unstable one. He inherited its doubts, its history of conflict, and instead of trying to erase that history, he learned from it and used it.
Because what Henry built would not just secure his reign, it would shape the future of England in ways no one could have predicted.
A future defined by power, by personality, and by a king who would become one of the most famous in history. And next time, we step into the life of King Henry VIII.
And I'm Jane, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you like what you saw, please take a moment to like and subscribe.
And I'm Jason, and we will see you next time right here in the past.